Emily Miller.
Hey, Rich Bird.
How are ya?
I'm good. How are you?
I am so good.
Excellent.
Here we are now.
Here we are now. What's up?
We've got a lot to chat about today. Your earrings, all kinds of fun stuff. We have a couple of announcements we're going to make at the end of the broadcast, so stick around.
I've been reading the comments on the YouTube side because I managed to remember my iPad today, and I'm just cracking up on all the stuff.
I love it. You know, the comments are almost as good as the content.
It's really fun. I kind of imagine in my mind, I see kind of a big room with the door open and people kind of trickling in and everyone going, hey, hi. And then there's a little group over here talking about, waiting for shipments. And there's another group over here going, oh, my Wednesday just fell apart. What am I going to do? And another one's like, I finished all my Wednesday work. And it's
right.
I just have this visual of everybody in a big room, in a big hotel ballroom. Kate and I were just in the last day or two reminiscing about Tucson times and reminiscing about traveling times and wholesale show times. And, I miss Bead and Buttons so much. I miss the Bead show. I was trying to explain to someone the other day why I had some buttons made into charms in my booth. And I said, there used to be this magazine called Bead and Buttons.
Bead and Buttons.
They had a show every year and it was like Christmas and you went and you saw all your friends. And when you were going from San Francisco to Milwaukee, there was only one direct flight a day.
One.
So you'd get to the airport and here are all your friends.
That's correct. I have a picture. It's you, me, Mary. I think it was Hyde
Peterson was there. Yeah, he was always on a flight with me.
Yeah, and there was like all of us. So if something had happened to that plane,
the woman who used to own the place to Bead, and
yes,
it was like everyone on the flight that you knew. It was
all there. So it was like if something happened to that plane, the West Coast Bead contingent would have been wiped out. It was.
I just miss all those. I miss going to Bead Fest. I miss, I don't know. I miss those big shows. I miss those.
Yeah. Events. Yeah. Elise is asking where Hybe is now. He's
Hybe and his husband are still in San Francisco.
They are. He's doing a lot of needle arts.
He is. He's a really rabid crocheter and knitter, and he got into art in puppetry, but his grandmother taught him how to crochet and knit and do needle arts. But he lives in Noe Valley, and he started crocheting animals outside his house and put them in the trees.
I just love them.
And he's gotten a bunch of press for that. He was doing that during the pandemic when there needed to be a little ray of sunshine in everyone's lives. But he's such a kind and gentle soul. And
such a ray of light. He also is a very prolific, or not prolific, but accomplished lace maker.
Oh, yes.
And when he posts things online, because I took that one fateful
bobbin
lace class at Lacis in Berkeley.
Yeah.
Because I wanted to feel like a cloistered nun or something. I don't know. A Belgian nun. I don't know. Why
I was reading something about someone saying when you carry the laundry basket on your hip, don't you feel like an oppressed woman in a...
Yeah, when you hold the laundry basket, you look out to the far horizon and you feel like you're a pioneer woman removed from all the...
And you adjust your kerchief on your head.
Yeah.
I posted apron down and
yeah. I think I posted it. I'll have to post it in the bead table. There's a picture of me. I'm about 8 years old, and that was my summer outfit. I would get one of Grand's old skirts from like the 30s or 40s, and I'd put a kerchief on, and I had this puff blouse and an apron that I made.
And that will stomp the grapes.
Yeah, I did. I looked like a little Sicilian girl, which I was half, and I would ride my bike, along the country roads and stuff. No shoes, but yeah, I'll have to post it on the bead table. There I am in my plucky, I still want to wear that outfit. That's really the only outfit I ever want to wear is my skirt. I was showing Emily. Let me show you all this. We'll get to it, but
Absolutely.
But see here, can you guys see the fabric of my skirt? How they are old-fashioned rings,
So that looks like illustrations from an old catalog
right?
where you would have been able to pick out that ring. If you had a little store,
Yes.
you would have been able to say, I want a dozen of those or a gross of those in all these
Yes.
sizes, and you would have
I
them in
mean,
your
just look
shop.
at them. I love it. I love the skirt fabric. My granddad had one of those old 1906 um Sears replica catalogs, where you get everything. You got your shoes, you got your lumber, and they had these pages, and I would pore over the jewelry pictures,
Mm-hmm.
and I'd pore over the like clothing pictures to see how it's done. I still have it. It was the 1906 Sears Roebuck catalog,
Yeah.
like reprint. I love it so much. But yeah, so we were having a little reminisce about those fun times. But we still have fun times.
We do.
It's just that times change, things
Yeah. Yeah.
cannot stay the same, but we keep making fun times for
Yeah.
ourselves.
Yeah. I mean, things in the economy changed back in 2007, 2008 when
Mhm.
the whole junk bond schemes and all that stuff kind of blew up and the housing market went kaflooey, and that really cut into people's expendable income for being able to do
Yeah.
it. And I thought it was sort of it was the change. It was
Yeah,
first,
that was a shift for sure. Yeah.
and I think that made such a big impact on small independent craft stores that even though they were doing well, they were kind of running kind of monthly,
Mhm.
or quarterly. They just it's very hard to sustain a small business. We're also having some reality checks right now, which are
Yeah.
a little hard to swallow and stomach, but you know, um, I think the uncertainty is the part that's really most frustrating, and it's really hard to plan. I'm planning on going to Tucson next year,
Mhm.
but it's only going to be a very brief trip, quick trip.
Yeah.
And the less I spend on hotel, the more I can spend on
On be a product. Yeah.
right. Well, and hopefully there'll be a Tucson. I mean, we don't really make
Yeah.
beads in this country, so there's no
Mm-mm.
economy to start back up again.
Yeah,
Um,
no, that's why I've made the decision early, like we were talking about yesterday.
yeah.
No Tucson next year, but maybe the year after. We're going to see how it all goes. But,
Well, and you and I've gone enough times. Part of what you do at Tucson is you develop relationships with people that you can shop either over video messaging, or they can send you pictures, you can send them pictures and say what you're looking for, and you get familiar with people, you're familiar with their products, you build a certain level of trust that you can work with,
yeah,
and that's
and you can
part of
work
what's
with them
fun about
remotely.
yeah,
Mhm.
yeah. I mean, going to seeing people again in my industry is always it's really it's exciting,
It's so fun. Those industry, and that's I think why what we get a little slice of when we do things like this, when we do our retreats,
Yeah.
we get that little slice of maybe not in person, but virtually in person. We have we've got all these comments, we've got over 100 people watching. It's really awesome.
Mhm.
So yeah, we just make our community where we find it, and we really do our best. But
Yeah.
speaking of community and speaking of the project today, Emily, this is so current because I think the fishy motif is the new llama.
I think it's the new owl.
Okay. The new Miranda agrees. Miranda is
Yeah.
saying,
I mean, owls were big when I was in like grammar school,
yeah,
into high school, you
yeah,
know, the late 70s, a million years ago, you know. And I remember having an owl candle. I think I had an owl bank. I know
yeah,
I had an owl pin.
yeah. My grand loved owl pendant. I have all of her owl
Yeah.
things. She
And
loved an owl.
there were owl macrame.
Yes.
My friend Tracy, her mom, did macrame in their living room. They had a hook in the ceiling, and she would climb up and hook the thing up there, and then she would work, you know, plant hangers hanging down and stuff. And she was making owl hangings for the wall. So that was all happening in those days, you know?
Yeah. Yeah. The big macrame. The big macrame owl.
Yeah.
And I can't mention the macrame owl without mentioning the big fork and spoon for the walls.
Indeed.
Yeah. I had a friend that had those, and I always wanted that giant fork and spoon real bad. I don't know why.
You're an adult now. You can go buy yourself a big fork.
I can, and it fits in our mid-century modern house pretty well. I'll bring that in. Chris will be like,
What?
What? Are you going to hang? Because we have the intercom. I'll be like, you know, I'm going to hang them next to our intercom that's still from 1971.
And it doesn't work?
It does.
Excellent. Yeah, it's nice not to have to holler down the hall.
No, and when you put the radio on to like an AM station, it's the summer of 1976 all over again. I got a feather in my hair. I got a feather. It's awesome. Oh my God. Mary Ellen just said, I have a giant fork and spoon in her kitchen right now. Mary Ellen, that's why I knew I loved you.
I love hearing stories about what you had when you were a kid and what you thought was really like extremely cool, like canopy beds. I remember a neighbor having a canopy bed, and I was like,
yes. Yeah, the girls across the street had the canopy beds, and they were,
we had bunk beds because it was my sister and I sharing a room for a long time until I was about 10. I think, you know. Then they took the bunk beds apart, and we each got one. So, and I took one of those bunk beds to college with me. So they lasted.
You did.
You know that my first little apartment had that bunk bed as a twin bed in the bedroom. So
yeah, it did. Make do and mend. Make do and mend.
I mean, my parent. So when we closed at my parents' house and did all of the final trashing out, my crib was still there. So.
Yeah, mine was too in the rafters in the garage. Yeah, we got rid of it. Yeah,
so, you know, it's no, don't throw anything away that you might use. You know, don't be a hoarder, but don't throw anything away you might use.
No, and make sure to hold that crib that I was lucky I didn't get my head through.
Yeah, I think I had bars on mine, but I think they were fairly narrow. Yeah. I was a late edition, so I actually got a new crib. I think all the other ones had they had the same one. They just passed it down, and then suddenly I came along and they had gotten rid of all that stuff.
Right.
Oh, well.
Oh, surprise. Surprise. Save the best for last.
Absolutely.
Well, the fish motif that it's so cute. Now these, let me add this in.
Two. I don't know where it's at.
Let me see. Oh, sorry. There we go. I had you on. That's a mighty swank beadboard you got there, Emily Miller.
You know, I got this a couple Tucson's back, and I just hadn't used it very much. But today it seemed to feel like it was a I thought it was sort of like a pond.
Yeah, I love it.
For my fish to be in.
Yeah. So. That's the other thing about Tucson that's so fun is back in the day, we used to go to like the big like industry parties and stuff, and you'd get all kinds of swag. And I was using my beadboard from, I don't know where it went, but from Bead Fest that said "Eat, Sleep, Bead."
Oh yeah, I have a sticker still on my lamp, my original lamp.
Yeah,
from Kelly that says "Bead Happy" on it.
Mm-hmm.
You know?
Yep.
So that one's been around for a while. Not tonight. Cannot tonight. Remember that?
Yeah. Yeah. Cannot tonight. I'm beating. I do. and the shirts. Yeah, everybody wore those shirts at Bead and Button.
Oh my God. You
Oh
know,
my God. Yeah. We could just do this. We could just keep doing this, but I know we need to get to the fish.
I know.
So they're so cute, Em. So we had our, if you look on the project page, Emily did a diagram for you folks. That's up, that's downloadable. But you've got all kinds of ideas for these.
You know, I did see the fish trend happening, and I am
Fish trend.
I'm very drawn to packaging a lot, which my sister actually worked as a packaging designer for a while, and so I have always been really drawn to packaging, and it's one of those things that one of my apartments when I was in college, my kitchen, one wall in my kitchen was covered with packaging because I always thought the graphics of it were so cool, and so
Yeah.
there's a ton of resurgence now in eating all kinds of sardines and
Yes,
tinned fish from Spain and from the Mediterranean area. And the labels are just really beautiful. I mean, I look at people's labels in the supermarket. I spend time looking at the label, you know, because it's attractive looking. And so I also have a real love for fishing. And once upon a time, I saw these fish, and I talked about this a little bit at the retreat, one of the luncheons we had. There's a particular type of fish that you fish for in southern Florida, in the Keys area, where the water is really shallow, and I mean too deep to sort of stand in, but maybe only like 8 or 10 feet deep.
Right.
And they're called bonefish, and you need to look these up on the internet to see a picture of them. Because they are, imagine, if you will, clear water and white sand, right? Under the water. No seaweed, no rocks, no nothing. It's just that clear sand, white and clear water and white sand for as far as the eye can see. And the fish have no place to hide. So the bonefish look like they're made out of liquid silver. They're metallic. They look like they don't look, in a funny way, they don't look exactly real. Like, we have this AI things that you kind of sometimes you have to do a little double take, like, wait, what is that?
Right.
Is that real or is that fake? But these bonefish look like they are made out of metal, and they're super shiny silver. And that was kind of my first instinct to go to with this. And I thought, Janice is going to kill me if I come on and say, we're just going to use 3 colors of the same color bead, 3 sizes of the same color bead. And then I really remembered that if you go and look at minnows, so the baby fish of any fish species, the fish after they hatch out of a little egg, they're like a little minnow. They're really beautiful. They have these colorful stripes down them, and their top and bottoms are usually 2 different colors because from the top they want to be sort of hidden as you look down on them, and then from below, if somebody's going to come up from below you and eat you, you want to look sort of disguised against the sky, right? But so I really enjoyed putting together some fish that I thought looked kind of naturalistic, but you could also play with this with a bunch of different colors and have for sure. Fun. Like ramping up the color on this. We could do something in primaries, reds and greens and yellows would be really fun. And these are beaded fish. There are multitudes of them out there. There are some embroidered ones. There are some felted ones with sequins. Soup to nuts, but I want to stay with beads because this is really what we do. So I ended up with these 2 little color combos for the fish, and you may play around with these and have so much more color fun than I made just for this particular little layout. So
that's really great. And will you measure those real quick?
Certainly. They're kind of on the petite side. And if you felt like you wanted to put these on a necklace, they would make a great little charm. Right. So from loop to tail, they're about 1 3/4 inches. Okay. And then width-wise, just at the widest, just maybe a sliver under 1/2 inch.
Under 1/2 inch, yeah. So they're a great size. You could dangle a whole bunch of those.
You could make a stringer.
Yeah.
Fish, right?
They're really cute.
You could make a stringer of fish and they would be really adorable.
Yeah.
But really, go around and look at tinned fish. The Fish Wife brand especially has
Yes.
really beautiful
So
labels.
good.
I just bought some the other week, some mackerel, pickled mackerel,
Yeah.
and just gorgeous.
Yeah.
Janice and I did talk briefly about making these into a bracelet. I think they would be really cute in a little row, like a little school of fish sort of
Yeah.
following one around. But it would also be really cute to just do a single fish and add in a chain link here to have this be like a little, like an ID bracelet kind of
Yeah.
thing
It'd
on
be
the
really
front of the
cute.
little bracelet. I think it would be really cute. So, but earrings were kind of, they were my first instinct for these, and I think I really liked them.
So tell me about the stitches, Emily. What are those stitches?
So we're using 2 stitches. We're going to use the ladder stitch, and we're going to use brick stitch.
Okay.
And we're going to use, I did a little, I'm just looking for my awl here so I can point without my fat finger in there. Here we go. So ladder stitch is what we use here for the base of brick stitch. That's common. We do that all the time.
Right.
And of all my little trial fish, because there were a few that I got to the end and went, I don't like that. I wanted to have the tail flare out quite a bit. And you'll see some fish have longer tails, and you could do this tail a little longer if you wanted. But I wanted to give the illusion, because the in-between things on little baby fish often are sort of clear. They don't have very much color to them. So I wanted to widen that out again. So I ended up doing a little bit of ladder stitching here as well. And I'll show you when we get there, because I'm going to make one this whole time. We're going to make a fish from start to finish, because these are a very quick make. And you will make a pair in, I don't know, an hour. Pair. Yeah, they go very quickly. If you've got brick stitch in your back pocket,
right,
that will all happen very, very quickly. You will need a very, very small amount of all the beads, and I used black beads for the eyes.
Mm-hmm.
You can use a different color bead if you wanted for the eyes, and of course for the eyes you'll need 2 black beads. So if you want to use if you had a dark navy blue one already, or another color that was kind of dark, that would work fine too. I did use mostly shiny beads, a little bit of matte beads in the little blue fish, and I can't remember now the 2 names that we chose for these, but the these matte silver, half not silver, what are they called?
Oh,
Labrador matte.
Oh yeah, so pretty.
Yeah, really, really pretty. And I felt they were kind of naturalistic. They kind of went with the fish.
Yeah. They look great. And people are throwing out a bunch of ideas for different color combos, or make koi fish, or do all that. So it really is a great jumping off point.
Absolutely. Absolutely. Fish tank lovers. I have a really great aquarium store near me where I go sometimes to buy, I can't remember what it's called. There's an aquatic plant that I put in my fountain to help keep the algae growth down.
Oh,
duckweed. It's duckweed. And I put that in there, and it floats around on the top and helps keep the algae down. And I could spend a day in this little store looking at all of the fish that they have. They have everything set up to mostly eye level, and so it's just really fun to look at. So, okay, so let's get started here, and I just want to show you on the diagram. I gotta grab a pen, which I'm about to put underneath something. That's not going to work. I did the little diagram just exactly like the fish.
That's
I just
great.
wanted to show you, kind of walk you through that first, and give you the plan we're going to do here today. Down at the fish tail, I did separate out the little areas where we're going to kind of change what's happening. So that little bit of a gap that you see here, it's really just so that you notice that there's a difference and it catches your eye, so you don't just keep on beading and forget what's happening next. But it's quite a lot of stitches that we've already done in the past. I used the number 1 bugles, which are the shorter of the 2 bugles, as sort of the widest part and the gill area on the fish. And I did a group of 8 going across. So we bring our thread through and we loop through these guys 2 times, right? Come back out, we add another one and continue to add beads as we go, going across and around, right?
Ladder stitch, ladder stitch.
Ladder stitch, easy peasy. And it should be something very familiar to you at this point. I am using the 4-pound test fire line, and I did mostly smoke, I think, in this one, the gray, on both these colorways, because they went fine. If you were going to do the primaries, some lighter color primaries, I'd probably change over to the crystal. Okay. So, and I described this fish as kind of working the head first, and then we tip it end for end and work the body. So I'll just talk about the head first, and then I'll turn it over. We're going to use our regular brick stitch, which is the pyramid style brick stitch, so making that decrease 1 bead on every row. On this first row of brick stitch, although I have 8 bugles here, I'm only going to be able to fit in 6 size 11 beads across. So this is where things are not typical brick stitch, but I made that adjustment, and you can too. You know, if you find that you want to do something and the bead sizes don't quite match up, but you want those particular bead sizes for whatever reason, don't let anyone tell you that you can't do that.
Right.
So the number 1 bugles are sized more like a typical Delica cylinder bead, which is narrower than an 11 bead. So I only can fit 6 11 beads across here, which means my first row of brick stitch is 6 beads. The second row, 5, 4. We get to that third row. When we add the first 2 beads on, like we do at the beginning of each row of brick stitch, 2 beads to start, one of the beads you add is going to be the eye. So I chose to make the eye in the middle, right, instead of at one end or the other, because it does make these fish sort of multi-side. They don't have a right side or a wrong side, an up or a down particularly, okay? And that means whenever I put on these 2 beads, the first bead I put on my needle is going to be the background bead. The second bead I put on that'll land in the middle is going to be the eye bead. And then the last bead I put on will be another of that background color. And then I continue up to my last row, which has just 2 beads. So with brick stitch, you can truly stop at any row. You don't have to continue up the pyramid to nothing or to 1. You can stop at 2 or 3 or whatever seems to make sense to you. I chose 2 here because I felt that gave me a nice pointed fishy nose. And then I changed to size 15s for the loop. I just thought this kind of balanced it a little bit better and made a smaller, somewhat sort of a petite loop. And I would work my thread around, go down a row-ish. You could go 2. And I go through that loop again just to secure it, right? Make it sturdy. So to finish off the fish, then I find it easiest to just flip it over, right? Turn it end for end. And I'm going to begin on this next row. And this is similarly in the idea that it's only going to be 6 beads across. So 6, 5, 4, 3, 2, same as we did before. But to elongate this row and elongate this body shape, I started with stacks of 3 beads.
Oh, so it's like a 3-drop or whatever.
3-drop, right. 3-drop brick stitch. So we're just using 3 beads as if they are 1. Okay. So if it's helpful at all to you, you can think of it as this is just 1 big bead. Right. Now, this also begs the idea, why didn't I use bugles here? Right. I could have used bugles. I tried actually a couple of times. Bugles tend to have kind of a rough edge. And I broke my thread twice. No one is going to want to do this with me. They're going to be really unhappy if that thread keeps breaking. So I went back to seed beads, to size 11 beads, and used 3 in a group. I did do a couple of stripes So as you work your way across, your first row has 2 beads, and this is this guy, right? 2 beads of the green, a transparent color lined green, another metallic green, and 2 beads of that, my favorite 457, right? And so it doesn't matter which end you are starting on. It's completely up to you. Depends on what you happen to want to do. You can start either way. This pattern is reversible, right? It doesn't matter. It could be going this way. You're going to do a row of 6, a row of 5, a row of 3, a row of, 6, 5, 4, 3, 2. When we get to the 2, I wanted a little more length here. Felt like the size was correct and across the way, but I did one more double stack of 2 drop on top of that 3 drop. So that gave me a little bit more length, extended the shape of that fish going a little bit longer. Let me show you what I started with when I was starting to draw this out. And I sat down with a pencil and my colored pens, and I started drawing fish.
Oh, those are so cute, Emily.
What I really felt like was that what made this little fish was that it kind of came down to that little point.
Right, that little skinny
bit, and it needed to have a kind of a good taper, right? So I liked the taper kind of coming down, and so I had to add a little extra taper. So I did one more row, but just 2 drop this time to finish off that pyramid of the fish, right? I always do some sketching. I don't consider myself a very accomplished illustrator, but I think one of the things that helps with sketching, it's a little bit like doing samples. I almost never imagine that the first thing, when it's something brand new, that the first thing I make is going to be the final, right?
Right.
There's going to be a little bit of working on it. I'm going to have to do some stuff. So it's okay if the first one doesn't really work off perfectly. I understand. But drawing helps me, I think, get rid of some of the mistakes and the trials that I have to go through. Helps me move it along a little bit quicker. So even if you don't feel like you're a horribly accomplished illustrator, sit down with a pencil and an eraser. You know, no one's watching over your shoulder. There's no art teacher there saying, don't erase, you know. So I got down to this 2 drop section, and then my brain said, you know, what about those tails of that tail fins coming out? So I actually went back to using the ladder stitch. So as my needle came out, I picked up 2 beads and I circled around just like I did before. And then I circled around, added a 3rd bead. So I wanted some flare, and I circled around. And then I went back into that 2 drop. Okay. So I wanted to have a flare so that an odd number here, so that my fishtails could come out and have those short, stiff sort of fringes. Again, this is Fireline really working for us. We don't want to have much drape here. We actually want them to be kind of stiff. So right out, right over, and out again. Okay, I went around here and then back out and made another fringe. But I'll show you when we get there. Don't you worry.
That's a really clever use, though, and reminds us that the ladder stitch and brick stitch are like cousins.
They are good friends for sure. You know? And brick stitch, there's a lot to be said for brick stitch, because you can add rows you can add width at any time. So I could have added a fin over here,
right,
by bringing this out and coming through some beads, right? Ladder stitching on a new,
do a little reduction, right?
Right. I could have done something else out here if I wanted to, ladder stitch, to give myself more width or more dimension or more shape. It's kind of cool, you know. It's nice that you can play around with that a little bit. Okay. Any other questions?
No, I think it was good. People are really fired up about different bead ideas and stuff. But I think it's really clever that you created such a simple project that once you make one, you'll really have a lot of places to jump off from. That's really
Oh, I
great.
think so. I think so.
Mm-hmm.
See if I can find my needle and thread.
Real cute.
So that thread is too short. So I did something else a little different on this project, which I've seen other people do in past bead things that I've watched or heard about, and I've never really done this for myself, but it does seem to make sense to me in this situation because I don't have a ton of sort of spaces to have to sort of deal with the tails of thread.
Mm-hmm.
And I'm going to start by peeling off about 1.5 yards of thread from my spool. And that needle is kind of a mess. Let's get a fresh one. Hold that thought.
Oh, that needle.
You know, once you get a bent needle, it's hard to, it's sometimes really hard to thread it.
Mm-hmm.
So I'm going to just treat myself to a fresh one. And, you know, needles are something I never want to run out of, so I always have plenty around. You know, when I lived in the Bay Area, I said, you know, I'll be the person at the, when the earthquake hits and we're all in shelters, I'll be the person in the corner beading with them, showing everyone how to do peyote stitch.
That's right, with all my needles.
Yeah, with all my needles. So I'm going to do the same kind of threading I always do, which is to push the eye of the needle to the end of the thread. And I'm going to pull through about 8 or 9 inches here of thread. And when I start my, when I start my ladder, I'm actually going to start my ladder kind of here in the middle of my thread. So I'm going to have a long thread, about 1 yard left over down here. And I have my 18 inches or so thread up here.
And 4-pound fire line, M, right?
4-pound fire line.
Okay.
And I tell you I'm doing this because when I finish the top part of this fish, this first little pyramid, it's not very much beading, right? It's kind of a small amount. And I'm going to bury off the tail, and I will have the rest of my thread coming out of a bugle down here, and I'm ready to go right away.
Right.
Don't have any extra, I won't have any extra things sort of floating around that I have to worry about. So I'm going to bring my beginning beads. Let me just pull my lamp in a little bit more here. I feel like I need a little more light. And fold over my first bugle. So I'm going to go back up through bugle number 1. And this is going to make the bugles lie seed by seed, side by side. Right? And I'm going to bring my thread back through a bead and pick up another one. You only need 8 to start this guy off with. So.
And the number 1 bugles are the 3 millimeter in length, just FYI.
Right. And there's a ton of good colors.
Yeah.
For sure. And did I do that wrong immediately? Immediately, yes.
Perfect.
Perfect. Perfect. What do? We don't stick the eye of the tip of the needle back through. We put the eye back through, right? But ladder stitch is nice because it's kind of quick. And you just make that base row. This is the base row that we learned how to do, oh my gosh, so far back. And I've done with all of the brick stitch things that we've done. We've made this ladder row, this brick stitch, this ladder row as our base for brick stitch.
There was a couple of posts on the bead table, Emily, that did your lantern, the lariat.
Oh my gosh, I saw.
Wasn't that pretty? And that really highlights that ladder stitch so well.
Yeah. And, you know, that, it's so funny. That was an idea that I had, oh gosh, 10 or 12 years ago.
Yeah.
It kind of finally came to fruition.
That's such a good piece.
But can I tell you a little trick? When you're making a base row of something, first I've got a little gap there that I'm going to scooch those beads over and try and move that extra thread down to the end and see if I can't get rid of it. Oh, I did. Okay. When you're making a base row and you want to only have to do it one time, the easiest thing to do is put 8 beads out. Then you know you just need to use those beads. You don't need a whole pile of them. You only need those 8 because it's not very many, right? And it's easy to go too far and suddenly you have 10 and you're like, ugh.
Right.
Right? So I like to go back and forth, actually I should say up and down, through my beads of my base row, all the way back to the beginning. And normally, somebody might call me on this and say, hey, I don't remember, I remember you saying we always use an odd number of rows in our base row. You remember that way back from those earrings? We always use an odd number.
Right.
Well, that's true. I always use an odd number.
Except when you don't.
Except when I don't. So you can do whatever turns you on. If you want to have 9 beads here or 7, be my guest. Okay? So here's my long thread coming out the bottom. And that's going to be used on the rest of my fish. And here's my slightly shorter thread that I'm going to use on this top part of my fish. Okay? So now my next row is going to be 6 beads across. And I'm going to pick up 2 beads to start with on my needle. I'm going to go to the second thread loop. I'm going to put my needle under that thread loop from back to front. Pull it up. I'm going to go back up the bead that's right above that thread loop, down the one closer to the edge, and I'm going to scooch under the thread loop and out, and then back up. So I did not develop this stitch. I read about it in Bead and Button magazine. And I love it because it locks in that beginning bead at the beginning of the row. It makes it super tight and stable because the rest of the row now is just picking up a thread loop between the beads. And remember, we're going from 8 beads in the base row down to 6 beads in the first row, which means somewhere along the line, I'm going to end up skipping a thread loop. In fact, I'm probably going to skip 2. And that's all right because the beads are wide enough. No one will be able to see that I've skipped a thread loop.
Right.
It won't be visible, but it's definitely going to happen. So these would be really cute also in all 15s.
Yeah, it would be cute in all 15s. You could also,
just had this moment of thought, oh, I should have done it all in 15.
Did you, you could also do these larger in 8s. They'd be a little bigger.
Yeah.
Maybe use the larger.
The full-size bugles?
The bigger bugle.
Yep. So I got 6 beads across on my first row. I'm going to flip it over. I like to flip my brick stitch because it's pretty much the same. Janice will say this for me. Lather, rinse, repeat. It's really the same thing again. Now, again, I'm picking up the second thread loop. And I'm going to I have 2 beads on. I'm going to go up the bead right above that thread loop. Down the one closer to the edge, catching the thread loop there. And back up the adjacent 11. Pull it up snug. And this is going to be a 5 bead row. All right.
Very nice.
Yeah. So brick stitch just progresses along. La, 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 la. Moving right along. Moving right along. Sorry, I didn't get to put any nail polish on.
Wow.
Mine's all worn off after the retreat.
Mary Ellen was saying that these would make great little ornaments on your beaded Christmas tree too.
Absolutely correct.
Be real cute.
I was actually thinking about, they would be cute in a dollhouse miniatures situation,
Yeah.
like in a little fish market, as laid out as little fish,
Right. Little
or on the dining
place.
room table as a fish in a platter.
Could you slide a little more to the center? Yeah. And then once you're done doing that row, can we see an up closer?
Sure. I'm progressing so nicely and quickly. My next row will have the eyeball.
Oh, that's awesome. So this is just the top part. Everyone was talking about in the comments about the tassel necklace and how fun that was. The lantern tassel.
Yes. That is a milestone one.
It is.
It's a bit of a commitment. Okay, so here comes the eyeball. So the first bead is going to be the background bead, and then the second bead will be the eyeball bead. Don't get to say that often enough in your day, do you? Eyeball bead.
Right.
Right. Brick stitches, I find it very satisfying and actually relatively fast. It's much easier for patterning than peyote stitch. It's much more straightforward. And, we could use it in place of looming if you wanted, although square stitch looks a little bit more like loom.
Mm-hmm.
But you could use it sort of in the same position as looming. Here's my last row of 2 beads. Because, you can't have just the eyeball hanging out there by itself.
Right.
Right? At least I can't. I don't know how you guys roll. So. And I'm going to use some 15s, which I did not pour out. Did I have? Oh, here they are. Got to be a little bit careful. I'm doing a little one-handed maneuver here, which is a tad risky.
Yeah, risky.
Risky, but living on the edge here. All right, I'm going to pick up 6 beads to make my little loop. I found that 6 was a good number. I thought 5 was too small, and I would normally do 6 even with 11s, but these 15s make a really nice petite little loop.
Right,
And
the tiny
it
loop.
looks like a little mouth on the fish, right?
It does, yeah.
All right. So I've got my 6 beads on my needle and thread. I'm going to go down a couple rows, back up a couple rows, and then I'm going to go through that loop again. Now, Fireline's pretty tough and pretty durable, but I feel more comfortable having a second pass of thread in there, just for safety's sake. And now I'm going to go ahead and weave off this tail of thread. Okay, so I'll go through a couple of beads, change directions here, and maybe once more through that eyeball, and we'll call it a day.
That's awesome.
Do be careful with that Fireline. It's very thin, and sometimes you can get wrapped around behind your beadwork without noticing. Okay. So head complete. If your loop feels like it's kind of 2 rows of 3 and not round, pop your awl in there and it will be round again.
Nice. Can we lift that a little closer, Em, or put the camera down? Either way.
I don't dare put the camera down because it gets too low.
Yeah, I get you.
Am I still in focus? How's this?
Yeah, yeah. Looks good.
Good. All right. So now we're on to the next little layer. We're going to do the tail end. And I do think this moves along quickly, especially when we start doing 3-drop, because it seems like you're adding a lot of beads all at once, so you get a lot of effect. But just checking the feed over there on YouTube, seeing if there's anything exciting I need to worry about.
Oh, nope, we're good.
Good? Okay. Chatting amongst yourselves. That's
They're
good.
chatting. They're chatting.
That's what I like. Okay. So I'm going to work from this edge, the silver edge, up. So I'm going to start with 6 of the 190s, one of my favorite beads. I use a lot of them in my work.
Yes, 190 is the Emily bead for sure.
190 and 457. Those two guys are they're hot in my world. Okay. So I'm going to catch the thread loop, second thread loop over. And now I have to just know that my groups of 3 are actually going to be used as separate beads, right? Those 3 beads are acting as one. I'm going to go right through them. And I do tend to do this in a couple of passes. It may seem like a slightly extra step, but I do think it solidifies for me that I'm actually using these beads as a single bead, even though there's 3 in a group there. At least in my brain, it helps. So, okay. So my next color is these guys also, 4217. It's 4217 and 5115. Oh, they're so pretty. I have used these multiple times. You guys are probably tired of seeing them, but golly, they're pretty. You know? But a good color combo. So it's going to be one of these. This is the silver lined, I think this is silver lined emerald AB. Is that right? Maybe it's just silver lined green. Silver lined green AB. This is the 101016. I think is the number. So.
Yeah, they look. All those greens and blues together look so good.
They're so oceany and mermaidy, and I like them.
Yeah.
Right? We did them. I used them for our bead embroidered cuff, which I loved so much. And now we have 2 rows of the sort of more oceany blue, and also kind of a delicious color. I think that's the Poseidon blue.
Yeah, and you can see in Emily's handout that she wrote, and you can download that on the project page. That's where she's kind of doing the stripes, following that color, the different color stripes. So look at how great those just kind of.
Don't they look kind of a nice ombre together?
Yeah.
Right?
Really nice. When in doubt, ombre, I think.
Oh, yes. I love an ombre. So this is my first row of brick stitch. So it was only 6 stacks across. Remember, that's 8 of the brick in the base row, 6 stacks across. So this row is going to have 5 stacks across.
5 stacks, yeah.
Right?
And this is where, and Terry was asking about the fins coming out. You can show on the handout again, Emily, where you kind of drew those in.
Yes. So at any point here, when you finished a row, I would do it after my row was finished. You can add more loops of ladder stitch going out, and add fins if you wanted to this. Add, feel free. Hang on, and I'll grab that handout. Let me just finish this row here.
Yeah.
And that way it's a good stopping point. And the ladder stitch will allow you to just continue to either brick stitch on top of it or leave it as ladder. It doesn't matter. You do either or both. So now there's going to be only one row of the 190s going the rest of the fish. That's where that color decrease happened. Okay. So in that first row of 6, I had 2 of the 190s and 2 of the 51 15s. That's the Poseidon blue. And in the second row, I've got 2 of the Poseidon blue, but only 1 of the 190s.
Mm-hmm.
Yes. So I happen to do it further down on the row with 4 across, but you can actually just do a ladder of beads to come out and have it be a fin if you like. As a matter of fact, I would do a ladder of like 3 and then maybe like a ladder of, no, maybe a ladder of 4 and then a ladder of 3 if you're going to make kind of a point for you. Okay. So now I'm going to flip him over again. And this is, of course, a place where I'm not using the same colors side by side. So I have to pick up 2 colors, not using the first 2 rows or not the first 2 beads I'm adding are not the same color, right? I have to add them in the right order to get them to lay in there in the right order. But brick stitch is nice because it is pretty straightforward. It doesn't have a lot of confusion about rows changing on the diagonal or moving away or any of that jazz. So I'm so glad to see you guys all here after the retreat. It feels like it's been like a month, but I think it's been like 2 weeks.
Well, it's been like 3 weeks, I think.
It's been 3 weeks. I mean, it just feels like it was a long time ago now. And it took me a minute to recover. I used to take classes, so many classes every week.
Yeah.
And I realized that I was a little out of shape for talking for that many hours in one go. I don't know how Kate felt, but I drove home part of the way without the radio on because I was like, ooh, I need to.
Miranda's laughing
in the car, so it's easy. But
no, it's a lot. We're still putting things away and getting things to rights. The retreats that we do, it's no small feat, that's for sure. But it's really fun to.
It was really fun.
Those,
There was there's nothing I would have changed, not one thing.
Yeah,
I was amazed that we went out and walked every morning, and
I know you guys did a good job.
Didn't get eaten by mountain lions. I did not gain 5 pounds like I gained the year before, the time before. I really felt like I gained a bunch of weight.
Oh.
But, it just felt much better to kind of get my body moving and get my brain moving a little bit, the things that I will bring next year with me, I'm going to bring a personal fan to have in my room.
There you go.
And I'm also going to bring a personal fan to have on my work table.
Oh.
I should have had a little fan. I think that would have made me more comfortable. Along with my hot light. So those are things that are on my list
for next year.
And I did bring my personal pillow, and that was very important to me. I'm so glad that I had that with me.
Yeah.
Because that made me feel very comfortable and very relaxed. So, the other thing I'm going to bring next year is a blackout mask.
Oh, yeah.
My window happened to have a security lamp kind of shining in it. And so it was not as dark as I would have liked it to be for sleep.
You have the lamp.
So and they did adjust it some, so that was nice. But I think next year I'm going to bring myself a little pair of, the kind you use on the airplane.
Yeah, the sleeping mask.
Sleeping mask.
Miranda said she pinned her curtains closed with one of her clampers.
Well, they moved it a lot, and it helped a tremendous amount. The first night, it was just super bright. And, at some point in the dark, you're like, do I need to get up and get, I had a little Turkish towel with me, and I thought, I could throw that up over that thing, but I'm going to have to stand on the bed, and I'm tired. And so I just kind of muscled through. But next year for sure, I will bring a little eye mask because that would have just solved all the problems.
Right.
Like,
All your problems.
you know.
Yeah.
And it's on there very lightly, so you don't really feel it. And it just helps you kind of go to sleep. So that's all I needed. Just a tiny little bit of tiny little helper. All right. So I'm ready to change down to 2 drop to get a little more length here.
So how many rows have you done there, Em?
1, 2, 3, 4, 5 rows.
Okay.
6, 5, 4, 3, 2. So this is as if I was going to continue another row.
Mm-hmm.
We could brick stitch up again. We decreased in this pyramid shape, right?
Mm-hmm.
But we could actually go the other direction. We could increase if we wanted to from this point. I'm going to put on my needle 2 of the Poseidon blue and 2 of the galvanized silver, or silver, gunmetal silver. I forget what the name of those are. I just know they're 190s. And that's going to be my 2 drop. So there's 4 beads. I'm going to go under the loop of thread. There's only the one.
Right.
Right? So there's no mistaking. I'm going to go up and down, up the Poseidon blue, down the 190s. Catch that thread loop again. Again, I'm just doing this to make sure that my connection is nice and strong. And up the Poseidon blue again. So here's where I'm going to get back to ladder stitch. I started this at about 11, might have been about 11:15, maybe 11:10. So we're doing good here if this took me 30 minutes, right? So you could just about make a pair of earrings in an hour.
Mm-hmm.
That just does not happen often enough for my taste, right?
Exactly.
So I'm going to do some ladder stitch here. That means I need a couple beads to start with. I'm going to slide them down. Oops. And I'm going to go around and come back up that Poseidon blue. This is all it's a little bit slippery here. Oops, mistake. Just the Poseidon blue for now. Bring it down. See, I want it to sit side by side, just like this.
Oh, I see. Mm-hmm.
I'm going to have it sit side by side. This is the making of the 3. Okay, so here's the 2 right here. Side by side. I'm going to go down the silver. Come out. I'm going to add 1 more silver. And go through that guy again. And this time I'm going to catch that thread loop as well.
Okay, so that's how you attach it to the rest.
Securing it
Gotcha.
to itself. And I think it's going to line up pretty nicely for me there.
Would you show us, Emily, where that is on the diagram?
Yes. Before I do that, I want to come up again so I'm ready to stitch.
Oh, gotcha. So you're just going back through.
Yep, I'm going to go back up. Right?
Aha. Right.
Right here, I came out, picked up 1, and then a second, and looped around. I have to go back through again, pick up another bead, loop around again. And there's actually a thread bridge here.
Mm-hmm.
I'm going to I dipped under that bridge and I just brought myself back out. Wouldn't really matter which side you came back out on this.
Gotcha. So that thread is ready.
Short fringe and loop around, go back through, and I'll work my way back over here and do the same thing.
Gotcha. So the 2 tail fins are really just fringe. They're not.
They are nothing but a little bit of fringe. And
nice.
Again, we're not worried about it being flexible fringe. We want it to actually be kind of on the snug side.
Mm-hmm.
So these are 3 fringes, 3 beads long. And one of the other nice things about working with like the same color kind of stacked on top of itself, is that it gives you this illusion that there's more there than meets the eye.
Yeah,
You're,
that's what
you're
I'm surprised.
having that look, that fringe look, even though it's only 3 beads long. That's okay. I'm skipping the last bead, going through those other 3. I'm going to bring myself down. I'm actually going to go down. Maybe I'll go down one more layer. I'll go down through my 2 drops and back up and shoot out where I left off on the new thread, the new ladder here.
Yeah, nice. That's a really great technique.
Oh, you mean to add the ladder back in?
Yeah, yeah.
It was necessity born.
It was really clever though, because it does, again, it really illustrates how you can go back and forth between the fringe, the ladder, the brick.
Yep.
And Emily, are you using a size 12 needle?
I'm using a size 10.
10, okay.
Yeah. So here's the other thing I really like. I really like that 4-pound fire line.
Mm-hmm.
So one of the things that has always been problematic with seed bead stuff is that you can only go through the beads so many times, right?
Right.
And the 4-pound fire line is the thinnest thread that's super, super durable.
Yeah.
So you have
really
the
is.
ability to go back and forth through beads that you would not have had before.
Yeah, that makes sense.
And so I really, I'm a big fan for bead weaving. You know, it's maybe not my favorite thread for favorite thread, not favorite thread. Favorite thread for the flexibility. Like for looming, it's too stiff for that.
Mm-hmm.
It's too stiff maybe for fringe.
Mm-hmm.
Although you can do it. It just, you have to be very kind of cautious about how tight you pull that fringe.
Right.
So I am 100% behind the fire line, especially in that 4-pound test. I think
Mm-hmm.
that's my new fave.
Yeah, same. I like it a lot.
Because it is so thin. It's a little, I do find it a little bit catchy, but it's really my favorite for working with because I just get this ability to kind of zoom around within my work any place, and I'm not filling up the beads. It's
Well,
really
and I feel also, Emily, since you and I have worked with wire quite a bit, having it be a little, at least for me, having it be a little stiffer sometimes helps me control it a little bit better.
having a little bit of body.
Yeah, it just kind of stays where I put it, you know?
Yeah. I hear that as well. You know, I do appreciate wire so much. I miss wire. I haven't been doing a lot of it lately.
Same.
And I kind of miss it. I was thinking at the retreat that I was kind of missing doing wire. And, you know, for all of you folks who didn't come to the retreat, so sorry. We would have loved to have every last one of you there. But I did not travel very light. And I really look forward to the day where I can bring everything in one tote bag.
Yeah.
I can't even tell you. There was no more room in my car. You know,
same.
You know,
no room in my car, no room in Miranda's car.
Right? I mean, I'm sorry. That's a flippin' cute little fish right there.
It really is so cute. Emily, look.
Cute. Look at him. He's super cute.
And it was really fast. I do love how it really shows how when you were creating that tail, when you did that ladder, that it slimmed down and then you took it back out.
Needed that. It needs that.
Yeah.
It needs that little.
Yeah. Put your drawings back up, would you? Next to that fishy. Because
a little inspiration.
The drawings were so charming.
I love that they all have expressions as well. You know? I didn't know. I sort of had a thought that I wanted to have a mouth showing. But once I got the 15s, it feels like it's a little bubble. And I was pretty happy with that, you know.
Yeah. Yeah, real
Kind of
cute.
can't have everything. There's not enough room in this to have everything.
Yeah.
As much as I would like to have them, I wish and I could make we could make a bigger fish.
Yeah, you
Just make
could.
the perfect earring size, and if you wanted to do a little stringer of these, a little clump of these as a pendant on a white striped T-shirt, Kate, how cute
Yeah,
would that
so
be?
cute.
Right? With
So
all
Marseille.
the colors. Yeah. Oh, oui, oui.
I feel like I've walked into a bar in Marseille. Yes. So a couple of questions
Sure.
here. The scissors, we do have special scissors for Fireline. We use those Xuron snips.
Yes, and I
Like,
happened to grab my Kai scissors,
yeah,
which Kate and I use for fabric, which I
we
like
do.
a lot.
Mhm.
KAI
Yeah.
scissors. It's probably not the best use of them on the Fireline because the Fireline's pretty tough, but
But you do need something that's super sharp.
Yeah.
Because the Xuron has that serrated. I actually have some Tim Holtz snips that are sitting here too that I've used in the past.
Yeah.
But you need some really sharp ones. Did you think about using Delicas?
I saw that from Janice, and I didn't actually. And I don't know why I didn't. Maybe I was kind of hearkening back to my original inspiration, which was the packaging, which
Right, and you wanted some texture.
it's a little bit. Well, I wish I brought a package up here with me. I have a package of tin fish downstairs, but the packaging is a little bit. The illustrations on the packaging, it's a little more rounded. I think of it as a little bit more hand drawn looking.
Mm-hmm.
And so this kind of sent me into hand drawn land. And for me, the regular round 11s felt a little bit more in that mode.
Yeah, I agree.
And even when you look at like traditional Spanish packaging, it looks a little hand drawn, a little bit dated in a good way. Dated as in kind of vintage looking.
Vintage coated. Yeah. Love. I brought a suitcase home from France. I brought quite a bit of tin fish and other little things. But yeah, tin fish is we've always been fans.
Kate brought me some beautiful vintage beadwork pieces, and I adore them so much. And I didn't think about having them out for you here, but another day I'll have to show you those.
Yeah, those were really cute.
They're really, really charming. And I have a tiny collection of sample cards of beads, and I love that kind of stuff. But I miss my packaging wall. When I was in college, I had a studio apartment in downtown in San Francisco, on Bush Street, right around the corner from the school I was going to, and it was a studio, so big room, and then a little kitchen off the studio, and one whole wall I just covered with packages.
I just love it.
And they were all 3-dimensional, so they stuck out.
Yeah. I love it. I love it. Very Warholian.
Well, and it was, it was cheap college student decoration.
Yeah, I do. Believe me.
Wasn't the Campbell soup can poster, but it was right there.
Right, or the Brillo box. That's right.
Right.
Yeah.
Right. Or
we
Maryland.
Had one of those at SF MoMA. We had the Brillo installation for sure.
Yeah. So this was a ton of fun. I did use the sterling and gold-filled ear wires that have the ball on them. They do have a slightly largish loop, which I thought worked really well for this. Keep in mind that you're going to put seed beads in there, so depending on the loop that you're using, they may be kind of small.
So you could also use a jump ring or...
Oh, sure. You could have a couple jump rings there for sure. Yeah. Or make the loop a few beads bigger.
That would also work.
Yeah. That would also work for sure.
So Emily and I have a couple of things that we're working on, and we have a little announcement that we want to share with you. I'm going to take this one. Shall I take your fish out?
Up to you.
They're so cute. Maybe I'll leave them.
Pretty cute.
Maybe I'll leave them.
They're truly on the doodle scale. So feel free for you to go doodle too. I drew them, like you draw a fish.
Right. Just a little simple fish.
Simple fish. Very, very simple.
I'm going to solo those one more time and then I'll pull them out.
Yeah.
So fun. Really a great one. Whoops. Sorry, I have to do this. Happened the other day with Janice and I. Hold, please. Hold, please.
I seem to remember you recovering pretty quickly. So
yeah, I don't know what there I am. Hold on. I'm going to put you. There we are.
Good job. See,
I can do it.
You did it.
Well, a couple of fun things to announce. One fun thing and then one other announcement we're going to share. We are playing around. Well, we're not playing around. We're serious. Next year, I have finalized some Fresno dates for a Fresno retreat.
Mm-hmm.
That's going to be with Emily and I. It's going to be in April. So we will have that info out. We'll have the dates. It's going to be at the end of April. And Emily and I are going to focus on metals. What that looks like, we're still kind of playing around with, but it's going to be metal madness. It's going to be real fun. And so more info.
2 days.
What's that?
2 days, right?
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
2 days. It's going to be a Friday and Saturday, that last Friday and Saturday of April. It's going to be real fun. So metal, I know I've been promising you metal. So Emily and I are going to put our heads together. It's going to be a lot of fun. Another very joyous bit of news for Emily, but kind of a sad bit of news for us, is that Emily is going to take some time to focus on her next act. And so we'll be taking some time away. She's retiring from broadcasting with us. Now I know that there's been, can you hear that collective gasp coming from everyone? But, Emily shared this with Janice and I a while back, a few weeks ago. And, she's been super successful with her jewelry business and doing all kinds of, fun things for herself. So while Janice and I both went, exactly what Mary Ellen said, oh no, we also are so grateful and happy for what Emily has brought to the table. And it may not be the last time you're at the table, but why don't you share some of your thoughts, Em?
So I so appreciate working with Kate and Janice, and I really miss working with people in person, and it is something that I want to focus on more. So I'm excited to do the retreat in Fresno. I'm super excited to get people into metal clay this past retreat. And I want to do more of that. I want to get more people back into metal clay because I think it's really a super accessible material. And I think if you are thinking maybe that you'd like to try a little metalsmithing, but you want to dip your toe into kind of some of the things, metal clay can be that entry. And you will quickly say, oh, but I want a set of stone. And then I will say, Kate, let's make bezels today. Let's have some stones. Let's put some embeddables into this metal clay and set some.
That's right. Not ingestibles, embeddables.
Yes.
And Emily will still be with us in August at the retreat. She's going to be with me here in the retreat to Fresno. We will, don't you worry, everyone. You'll still get some doses of Emily.
Absolutely. I'm keeping my Beadshop email open. So emily.beadshop@gmail.com. Emily.Beadshop
I'm going to make it a banner here.
is open, and I will still be answering questions and still be responding. I really am excited to be at this stage of my life to do something for myself and to kind of be out on my own limb on my own has been super exciting. And I'm a one-man band. I saw a great shirt the other day, actually a hat. I'm going to order one that says One Woman Show on it. And I'm super excited to go do that, as this is kind of my last act. I hope that I always act young, even though my years may be kind of creeping up there. And I do hope that I get to a point where I don't have to have a job. I as a person in the art, who's worked in the arts and creative fields for most of my career, it's tough to think that, at some point you do kind of get to retire. And I will still be making things for me. And when I talk to people at my booth at the market or other shows that I do, most of the jewelry I make, I actually make for myself. I mean, I make things that I want to wear. So it's about my expression through my art in jewelry and in beadwork. So I do want to go and do things for myself. And it's important to have that chance to go do that. And I'm so excited to kind of lift off. This last couple of weeks where I haven't had real bead shop duties, I was kind of like, I get to go make jewelry all day.
Yeah.
And I turn to the dog and I go, Hope, let's go up to the studio and make some jewelry.
That's right.
She comes right along up with me, and she brings her Chewy with her, and flops on her little bed in the studio, and hangs out. I was so excited to get back in the saddle at teaching at the retreat, and I love teaching. It's one of the fun things, and I love doing it in person, and I want to do more of that. So the retreat with Kate in Fresno is kind of just the beginning. I'm super excited to be down there and get to explore Fresno a little bit more, and have that immersive experience with all of you as well. Yeah.
And, we never know what's coming down the pike, what we're going to, so, this Fresno April, I think is going to be a lot of fun. The great thing is that whenever you miss Emily, all you have to do is go onto YouTube. All of her vast level of knowledge is staying with us there. Her projects aren't going anywhere.
Nope.
And you never know when I might be able to lure Emily back for just a Q&A, maybe in a year. We'll
Totally.
see. We never know.
You never know.
We never know.
You never know.
But
well, I'm going to see you in April, which is like right around the corner. And
it feels like it's right around the corner, right?
I definitely, I was thinking when we were talking the other day about Tucson, I'm like, maybe I'm going to have to do a little something for Kate while I'm in Tucson, and we'll put it up on something,
Yeah, we'll do a little fun thing. You never know. It's just that Emily really, after all of these years of great service to Beadshop and great service to, like at Baubles and Beads, your class directorship, all of that, it is time for you to do exactly as you have a mind to. So we are so fortunate to have had you for as long as we did. And we're looking forward to some new adventures for sure. So
absolutely.
I know change is never easy. And I know that that there was a collective gasp, but I know everyone's really kind words here in the chat. And as Elise says here, this is not a goodbye. It's a see you soon for sure.
Yes, indeed. Absolutely. Indeed.
So
thank you guys so very much. Thank you for making me part of the Beadshop family. I'm so excited to see, the only reason I keep Facebook is for you guys.
It's true.
There's so much junk on it now and so much that I don't want to look at that. Yikes. And I really only keep Facebook for Beadshop. So once you guys move off of Beadshop off Facebook, I'm out.
That's it. Well, and Emily, any future endeavors, please share over on the Bead table. Please share. We will add it to the newsletter. Any in-person classes that you may decide to do, we would love to know. And yeah, this is not a goodbye. This is just a congratulations, Emily, and we can't wait to see what we cook up next.
So
for sure.
exciting. So exciting.
Yes.
I cheer on all of my friends when they get to retirement and they get to go and do what they want to do. And it's the best. So
yeah, it is. And I'm not going anywhere. So you still have me, everybody. Still got
to put up with Kate and Janice now.
This consolation prize here. You got me. I better practice these fish.
Kate and Janice just have this wealth of knowledge and this wealth of generosity to share their information and to put it out there. You know, they could be charging for all this. This is free. And to go out on a limb and kind of do that, it's kind of groundbreaking. Other websites have some, tip things or watch a little video about how to do a crimp bead or a loop or whatever. But Kate's got a lot of longevity to be hanging in there and doing this every week and having it be free for everyone to watch. And Janice, and it's a real labor of love what we're doing. None of us are millionaires. I didn't win that lottery last week.
No, me neither. Miranda, did you win? No, that's why she showed up today.
I know. I mean, there'll be signs if I win. I won't say anything, but there'll be signs.
Yeah, there'll be signs.
So,
sure.
we do some of the stuff we do to make a living, and some of the stuff we actually do because we really love it. We wouldn't be doing it and struggling through all this stuff if we didn't absolutely love it.
Yeah.
So,
well, as I think Terry said, so long, Emily, and thank you for all the fish. It was amazing.
Thank you for all the fish. Oh my God.
That's right.
And now we need to make a little cat to go with the fish.
That's right.
It was on my brain to do a little round cat head to go with the fish.
Just a little.
Because you need a little something with ears.
That's right. Well, you guys know you can reach out to Emily, emily.beadshop@gmail.com. You can also shoot things over here to info@beadshop, and we will get them to Emily. She'll still be hanging around the bead table. You can still find all of her projects and handouts, all of those. And as we said, Emily, this is not a goodbye. This is a so long, and we'll see you soon.
Absolutely.
All right. Well, thank you so much, everybody.
That was great fun today, and I had such a good time all these months. So thank you.
Thanks, Em. All right. I will see you on Friday with something that I'll figure it out. And
I'll keep sending Kate ideas, so don't you worry.
Yeah, we're not shutting that pipeline down, that's for sure. All right. Well, in the words of Suzette, we love you, Emily. Thanks so much for all
you guys. Love you all too.
All right.
Well, beat something new.
Talk to you soon.
Okay.